Gotta say, setup's a lot different this time. Got the giant.
Yeah, yeah. This is what it's gonna be for a while.
This is gonna be for a minute. It's a different type of setup.
Yeah, it's gonna be like this for a minute.
Just a little Dwight and the Lord and Savior, right? You got the Lord and Savior and Dwight right next to you. The two has. That's the constant headspace you're in right now. Is just.
That's right.
Our Lord and Savior and Dwight.
Dwight is whispering in one shoulder and the Lord and Savior's in the other, trying to lead me astray.
Well, that's the start of the video. Anyway. Like I said, how we always start these videos. So we definitely appreciate all the love that the past videos have gotten. The past podcast has gotten. It has been a crazy and fun journey. I know 30 views or 150 views don't sound a lot to the normal average Joe, but for two Joe Schmoes who just play games,
it's a lot.
Having fucking 3 people like fully listen to the thing is kind of crazy. So to have
it's wild.
30, 40, 70, 150 is it's a unique experience, but that's not what we're here for. We said our thanks. We have a special topic for this week, and it's one that the partner on the screen has been itching to get into. Won't shut the fuck up about it, so I was like, you know what, might as well hit record.
I won't.
This is going to be interesting because it's 2 different perspectives. It's completely 2 different people who theoretically want the same thing. I'm specifically not a PvP guy. I used to be a while ago, but those days are kind of dead and gone from me. And extraction shooters are something that I'm just not into. But I love Bungie. As we know, as you've seen on my channel, I crave about Bungie. I review Bungie shit. That's what I do. And we've talked about it before. We have a passion for games. We love games. And for me, my mindset is not necessarily business, but decision making. You know, what things can we learn from the past, the present, and what things we could take into the future for anything, and just how companies handle things, how situations play out, just learning in general. I love learning new things. On Kane's perspective, man, he is the target audience. He is the guy that when Marathon announced, it's him. He's there. And I'm not the target audience. I'm not the target audience. He is. So it's going to be a unique video because at the first time in our podcast, we're not on the same page. Theoretically, we're on the same page, but we're not like...
Yeah, we're essentially
like... The game speaks to us on different levels. When you boil
it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, for one, we'll start with the reveal, right?
Yeah.
It's been going...
This is where we do agree.
Yeah. This is where we do agree, yeah. As you saw my reveal reaction, if you haven't, it's there. There was elements in there that I obviously loved. I craved it in the video. It was great. Art design, music design, sound design. I think the animations, I think the colors, all of it was pitch perfect, in my opinion. I know there's a lot of noise on the internet. Of course, there always going to be. But I think all that was beautiful. But as you can also tell from my reaction, when it was the gameplay, I had no reaction. But when it was anything but the gameplay, I was glossing over it. And I think that's interesting. It's definitely something that, for me personally, I waited 2 years. It's a game that's kind of been in limbo. And this is the gameplay you showed me. I'm kind of left here going, all right, you take resources from. I'm Destiny 2 player now. You take resources from Destiny 2. I wait 2 years. You know, there's some things in Destiny falling apart, and it's being moved to Marathon. And you show me gameplay, and I'm like, all right. But then you come out with a story trailer, and it's like, this is cinema. I'm watching my feed, my YouTube feed, since it's all Marathon.
Film.
Yeah, I'm watching the YouTube feed, and there's professional filmmakers studying the short, and I'm like,
it's beautiful.
There's an obvious disconnect. So before I go any deeper, you watched the live stream. Live, I came home and watched parts of it, as you saw. For you, how was the reveal?
Man, it was. I don't know if you saw snippets of the build-up, like what they were doing. Did you see like the little robot, like Roomba robot that stream, the chat stream? Okay, yeah, that was cool, man. I'll say Bungie knows how to get people hyped up.
Yeah,
like the ARG that happened before, like leading up to the stream. The stream start itself again being very interactive with the community, with the stream. I was like on a hype train, like out of 10, I was at like a 10, like hype wise, before the stream started. And then the developers started talking, and specifically when the lead game, the game director, the main guy, the head dude, when he started talking, my hype just started kind of coming down. And it seems like every interview that I've watched with him have been the worst interviews I've watched with for Marathon. But the stream overall was not good. Like my hype was pretty consistently coming down throughout the entirety of the stream until that cinematic trailer hit at the very end, and then I was back to like a 10 for a sec right there. But then again, like just thinking back on the developers, they didn't give us any good information in that entire stream. There wasn't a lick of any relevant, important information that came from that stream, other than, hey, this is my name. I'm in charge of this part of the game, and I like making maps. I like extraction shooters. We all like extraction shooters. That was something they talked about. How that's the type of game that they like playing in their free time, and that's why they're making an extraction shooter. But no relevant information was given. They showed the gameplay trailers, which you saw. The gameplay looked not great in those gameplay trailers. They looked like robots. Like it didn't even look like they had real people playing the game, like for the gameplay. And then they showed the one part that did have a little bump that did look decent was when they showed the content creators gameplay. That looked like, like real humans playing a real game. It looked good, and then it went back to not looking so good. So the reveal overall was pretty horrendous when you compare it to the after stream interviews with individual content creators, which were amazing. All of those interviews were very eye-opening. They talked about a lot of really good information, except for the lead game director's interviews. Have you watched any of his interviews, D, with like Skill Up?
I watched one with Cross. Or Cross interviewed him.
Yeah, like it's not. I don't know. A lot of what he said made absolutely no sense. But all the other people that were interviewed were amazing, and honestly, the game sounds very promising after listening to all those interviews, which makes the reveal feel even worse.
I think.
So, the stream wasn't great.
I think this is a bigger issue, not with just Marathon, but with Bungie themselves. They have a very so to put it into things, right? They make it very human for everyone. When you've been immersed in a world for so long, in this case for 2 years, you've been in that world for 2 years. You know certain elements, you've been working on it, you're the ones making it. You've been immersed in that world for 2 years. And Bungie gets lost in that. So which makes it real good because they're immersed. They're in it, right? But they don't realize when they show it to somebody, they haven't been in it for 2 years.
Yeah.
So when we're watching it, so Destiny Lightfall, right? I'll bring it back to Destiny Lightfall since it's Bungie. They came out with this supernatural power called the Veil, and they just dropped it on you. And all the characters and Bungie devs themselves were like, "Yeah, the Veil. Don't you know the Veil?" And the players are like, "Nigga, this is the first time I ever heard of this." And they kind of gaslit you the whole time, expecting you to know what this was. Because they've made that story, they've been in it this whole time, and they kind of forgot to tell the player, "Oh yeah, this is what we've been doing.
This is a thing.
This is a thing, by the way."
Yeah.
And for Marathon, I kind of felt the same way in that as I watch more and more videos on it, it's like Bungie came out with excitement. They're like, "Oh, this is the new project that we've been working on." But they forgot to show, well, in my opinion, the game, and what we tend to like differ on is the hook of it. Now, when you watch gameplay outside of that reveal, right? I watched a GameSpot, which the person for GameSpot was OD. His aiming was precise, and I was like, God damn, I'm not gonna be like this. But I was watching him play, or him or her, whoever at GameSpot was playing it, and it was sensational. I said, "Oh my god!" Like they said, it was PVE, PvP, so I didn't know how much PVE was in it, right?
A good amount.
There was a good amount, and that they weren't just clowns; they were genuine challenges mixed in with players picking you off. And I was like, "Yo, this game looks kind of gas. This game looks good." But then it makes me think, what the fuck was Bungie thinking? And it's not just. It's kind of a constant message and tone that kind of threw me off in the reveal. Is you have the story trailer, which is so chaotic and high paced, right? Every time they got into combat, it was the camera movement, and they were moving so fluid and fast and vaulting over things and parkouring, and the shooting looks so snappy and stuff like that. And in the gameplay reveal, it's like this airy, like, oh, everything's so slowed down, and oh, cut this corner, I'm so sneaky right now. And it's just like, okay, what's the tone you trying to get? Your story trailer was, I'm fast paced acid trip, and then your gameplay was, oh, I'm playing Splinter Cell, bro. Like, this is crazy. And it was just like, what's going on right now? So if you had to, if the audience, right, has to search for the excitement in the gameplay, then the reveal failed, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because let's be real, our minds are so fucking rotted now that we could just see a trailer, swipe up, swipe up, swipe up, see a big booty bitch, swipe up, see a Korean bitch, swipe up. Oh, here's a cute puppy, swipe up. Oh, here's the gameplay, right? And it's constant information in our heads. So the average person is not going to go digging for something that didn't excite them right off the cuff. But as you can speak on, the NDA got lifted. So tell me your excitement for that NDA getting lifted, because obviously that's major after this whole thing.
That is that is the best decision that Bungie could have possibly made right now. Like that decision may have like just saved the game. Like because the public reception right now for Marathon is in the shitter. It is really bad. And them deciding to lift the NDA on all the streamers, the content creators for this closed alpha is massive because now the masses, the people that weren't going to go do that digging that D and I did do, they're now going to just get a straight up, shot to the veins of their favorite streamers playing Marathon, uh, completely unfiltered. So that was the best decision that Bungie could have possibly made. Without them doing that, the reception would remain just as negative as it is now. So the gameplay, and again, from everything that I've seen, from what I understand, from what D has seen, from what the content creators themselves are saying that have played the game, they're all, even the ones that have negative things to say about the game, they're all saying the gameplay was fun, in that if it was open right now, that they would be playing it right now. Like that's what I've gotten from every single video I've watched from somebody that has played the game. So I think that this is going to save the launch of Marathon. That it's also going to answer another massive question that I kind of have still, and I'm sure a lot of people have. Bungie is claiming they want to make this game with the community. They're taking your feedback seriously, this and that. And again, the people that have played the game have claimed that Bungie has taken a lot of their feedback into consideration, and they've seen that. But only they've seen that. No, like we can't confirm whether or not Bungie is actually doing that. So this is going to show us, like, hey, in this alpha, did they take any of this feedback that we've heard from the content creators over the past 2 weeks or since the reveal? If they do an open beta, what's the difference between the closed alpha we're about to see and that open beta? Like, did they take more feedback? What did they change? That's going to be a massive, massive thing.
I think what was really cool to see when they lifted the NDA was that they gave us a list of what they want the feedback to be about.
Yeah,
they gave you a list saying, "Hey, here's the things we want you guys to."
What we're testing.
Yeah, what we're testing for in this closed alpha, and then here's the things that are going to change, but not from this pre-alpha. And that was kind of like the ultimate transparency, where it's just like, oh, okay, this is exactly when we play the game, and I mention, man, my machine gun doesn't work properly, and that's what they were looking for. Then it's like, oh shit, okay, this is what it's there for. But if I go, hey, this story's kind of shit, well, they're not worried about the story right now, but it is worried about the game. So it was very cool to see that. It's the first time I've ever seen it. Maybe it's the first time I ever paid attention to it, but they actually gave you a list of what they want to see be reviewed about.
Yeah, this is something that any true, like, real alpha, this is something that they do. And now, it's understandable if you haven't seen that, because, let's be honest, AAA game studios very rarely ever do closed or even open alphas with the general public. They're almost always extremely discreet, and have very locked down NDAs, so you never even hear about them. Bungie is being extremely public with this alpha, which is amazing. But this is something that you see in alphas in general. A very popular one right now is Ashes of Creation, which is like a really big MMO that's being worked on right now. It's an alpha. But they always, any true alpha, if that's their actual intent, is to test the game like what they should be doing, they give you these lists. They give you these things like, hey, these are the pain points. These are what we're focused on. And another thing that Bungie did that, again, is a great sign, is that they're specifically asking for what is the problem. They're specifically saying don't give us solutions because we're not developers, right? This is like the general public. We're playing a game. Like you can give them solutions if you want, but that's not what they're looking for. They want to hear all of the problems, and it's their job to come up with the solutions for that.
I think a major thing. Now, I'm a beat a dead horse here because this is a common theme in I guess the channel now, is that you got to have right feedback. The media storm that is going around Marathon right now is
It's horrible.
Absolutely horrible. Some of it is completely justified, right? Maybe you don't like the art. Okay. Maybe after 2 years, the graphics look what they looked and you're just not a fan of it. Okay. That's accurate. Maybe you just don't like the way the guns look, sound, whatever. All that stuff, constructive feedback, criticism, cool. That's perfectly fine. And I think, hey, Bungie has burnt me 7 times. And I just have to see the game when it launches. That's perfectly fine too. If you feel like you've been burnt by someone 1,000 times and you just want to see it, come out before they take your money, then yeah, okay, that's your fucking money, dude. You worked for it, there you go. And it's a simple mindset. Is the game fun? Do you want to have fun? Buy the game. Does the game not look fun to you and you want to have fun? Well, don't buy the game. It really just comes down to that. But the constant for people who don't follow that company or that game and are not journalists in that field and to create constant content around it is very fucking confusing to me. Because it's like, buddy, you're wasting your whole mental energy on something you were never going to play in the first place. And
Yep.
the game isn't out yet. At the end of the day, yeah, it's been a long time since we've seen anything Marathon, and that was the review, and it wasn't a good review. But at the same time, that was the review. It wasn't the launch trailer. It wasn't the fucking gameplay overview. It was the reveal of the game.
Of the game.
And there has to be some leeway here, but because it's just like,
yeah,
it's just the reveal. We're not here yet. We're not there yet. So to create your content over and over again about a game that's just not here yet, that you weren't impressed with, that you don't think it's fun and you don't want to play, then motherfucker, don't play it.
Yeah, and like you said, you hit the nail on the head when you said, like, this is a game that they would never play anyways. So it's like, do you see these same people making hate videos about Hello Kitty's Adventure Island 2? Like, they're not talking about it because it's a game that they were never going to play anyways, so they don't care about it.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, this Marathon reveal, this Marathon game in general, is bringing out all of the haters from every corner of the gaming community. It's bringing out the worst in all of them.
Like we said in our podcast, that the Assassin's Creed Shadows puts a spotlight on what game media is right now. And the Marathon reveal, I mean, it's just shining brighter and brighter, where it's just like people I've never heard of on my feed with Marathon hate. And I'm just like, brother, I don't know who you are. I am locked in with Bungie. They don't know me. I don't know them. But I write papers for them for school. I do all that. I am locked in to this company, and I never heard your name before. Never. And you got 17 Marathon hate videos? Like, what's going on here, bro? Like, what are you talking about? So it's confusing.
They're just some Call of Duty content creator, like Warzone gamer, and
that's
talking about a game that they were never interested in.
But that brings me to this point. I'm not the target audience. Yeah. In my opinion, I don't think you're the target audience too. And that's the thing that confuses me. What is the audience and the hook of the game? Because I'm relate this to Path of Exile 2, right? They did not have to appeal to the PC players when they first announced their game, right? But they did want to get the console players on board, so they did have a lot of videos of what the console version looks like. So they're like, look, we already have our audience, but we're targeting the console players too to get onto this. And I'm trying to relate that to Marathon, where it's like, okay, we know we have the extraction players. We're going to get some extraction players because that's what they want to play. This is a new extraction shooter, and extraction shooters just want to try something new. Okay, cool. Who else is it, though?
Yeah.
That's the thing that confuses me, because Marathon hasn't been around since the 90s.
Yep.
And it wasn't exactly like, oh man, I remember Marathon. No, it was more like, I remember Resident Evil 1. Okay? It wasn't like, it wasn't the game where it's the fondest memories. You had kind of be is a niche. It's a niche title. It was a niche thing. So it's not the story. It's not the world. But it's Bungie. So from your perspective, because my perspective is like, brother, who is this game for? And for your perspective, when you watch it and you're already in it, what do you think?
Okay. So I will say, it's not completely fair to compare them to PoE 2's rollout, because grinding gear games, something that they have always done extremely well is they know how to put out a reveal update, like a reveal stream, a reveal trailers, whatever it is. They have that shit down to a science, and it is always a banger every time. Grinding gear games, amazing studio, really cool. They know what they're doing in regards to that. So it's not quite fair to compare them to that. But I will say, you're right about them not being so worried about the extraction shooter people, because they're gonna try it out. There's not a ton of extraction shooters in the market, so anytime a new one comes out, they're going to try it. Like, that community is going to flock to it. They're going to try it out, and hopefully it's good. If it's good, it'll find a community with the extraction shooters. Now, that's a relatively small community, so they got to be going for someone else too. And now I would say this is where we disagree a little bit. I think that the world and the story is part of the hook, even though Marathon isn't well known to the masses. And my example for that is, how I think of it is, like, before you had ever heard of Harry Potter, did you just because when you saw it, like, as wizards and magic, I know it's different setting than Marathon, but just because you didn't know what Harry Potter was and you had never heard of it, didn't make you completely disinterested in it right off the bat. You got a little flavor, a little taste for it, whether it was a trailer, a movie trailer that you saw, or you read the back of the book, or whatever it is. Something intrigued you in a world that you knew nothing about, and you wanted to read it, or you wanted to watch the movie. So I don't think it being Marathon is a bad thing, or like a thing that makes it not interesting to people that don't know what Marathon is. So I do think the fact that it's going to be focused on story, a narratively focused extraction shooter, which maybe sounds a little paradoxical to people that play extraction shooters, but there's going to be a narrative focus. If you're somebody that enjoys a narrative focus, and from what you've seen from the art or the world from Marathon, if that's intriguing to you, I think that's enough of a hook to get someone to at least try it. That's very lore involved. And let me tell you, if they take just 2 seconds to look into Marathon's story, they will be hooked if they're about narrative.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of story in Marathon. So I do think that's still part of the hook, even though it's maybe not well known. That's how I'm seeing it.
I think I see that side of it. The only thing that makes me question it is back to the beginning of this. There was an obvious disconnect between the story trailer and the gameplay. So saying
100%,
saying a narrative focused distraction shooter, and then you show me the game, and I'm like, all right, that's not anything.
And you don't see it.
That's not. I don't see it. And my thing is like what in that gameplay reveal. I'm talking about that reveal. Because for us, for me and you, we have dug the unscripted, unedited gameplay things, GameSpot, other content creators. We've seen it.
Interviews, yeah.
So we know what the gameplay looks like right now. Not the story, but the gameplay. So for us, it's like, oh, okay, that looked crazy and fun. But there's nothing in that reveal. If you take out the story, if you take out the cinematic, right? There's nothing in that reveal that goes, hey, you should put down Cyberpunk and play us. Or you should put down Tarkov and play us. There's nothing there that said, hey, you got to play our game. And then when you listen to them talk, it's kind of like... 100%. Yeah.
No, I agree 100% with that. They're again, the reveal was horrible.
Yeah.
There is nothing. The only good thing from the reveal was the cinematic trailer. And like you've pointed out, though, there was a downside to it, and that downside was it had zero connection to the gameplay that they showed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and then you have the lead game director saying things like they want to revolutionize how ranked play is, but then when asked how they're going to do that, he basically admits that they don't know and that they're still figuring it out. Why would you say that? What when somebody asks you, hey, what about this game is going to be really unique, and like what are you trying to like change? You know, Bungie's always been revolutionary, and they have been in their history. And it's like, oh, like, you know, part of that is going to be how we handle ranked play. It's like, oh wow, that's really cool because it's a PvP game. You know, there's going to be a lot of people that are potentially really intrigued by ranked play. It's like, what can you tell us about that? Nothing. And this is exactly what he said. He said, we're still deep in the weeds on the details. Deep in the weeds means we don't know what it's going to look like. That's what that means. Also saying things like one way that they want to push the game, like the limits, and again, he didn't use the word revolutionize, but nearly saying that is the social element of the game. They want the social aspect of this game to be a large aspect. And then they were asked, oh, that's really cool. Like, can you give us details? Is there going to be a social hub, like the tower, for instance, or just an area, a hideout that you can socialize with friends or other players? No, we're not going to have that. That's not in the game. Okay, what about proximity chat? Like VoIP, are we going to be able to talk to other people that aren't on our team? No, that's not in the game either. But the social aspect is going to be really great. Dude, I'm telling you, that lead game director, I don't know what he was on during that reveal day, but those were really the two big things that looked horrible. But yeah, that reveal was bad.
I think
this was bad.
I think now this is gonna be a tricky one. This is a toss up for anybody. Bungie is Jesus Christ of the PvP multiplayer console. They are the ones who created it in terms of putting a first person shooter onto a controller on a console and then having players versus players. They are the creators of that. And they have always been ahead. They've always been doing something that sets the industry.
Just look at Destiny.
Yeah,
like,
they
that
did it
was
with,
a weird. Nobody knew what that was supposed to be.
Yeah, they did it with Halo, right? It's the GOAT. It's the Godfather. And then you make Destiny, and then nobody knows what that is. Nobody knows what the fuck that is. And then you have it to where it is now, where it's fucking 14 years later, and it's still here.
Yeah, there's nothing like it.
My thing is, there has been revolutionized things, but there's a lot that's happened in the world since then. And unfortunately for Bungie, the layoffs, all that stuff that's been going on, and the teams being created, split up, stuff like that, that's just a natural thing in the game industry now. But their most recent success with PvP just isn't there. They don't have PvP success in recent memory. Because when people go to Destiny, it's not for PvP.
Right.
And their moneymaker, as they said, is not in PvP. It's in PvE. It's the cosmetics. It's the weapon cosmetics. It's the dungeons. It's the raids. It's not PvP maps.
How long has it been since you'd say PvP was at a really good point in Destiny 2? If it's ever been at a good point.
What people don't know is that when Destiny 2 launched, it was absolutely atrocious. And
the launches have been historically bad.
The thing that really saved it was PvP, because they came out with the Trials of Osiris add-on, which was a terrible add-on, but it brought back Trials. And Trials in PvP is what saved Destiny at that time, because it was just like, you got to play it. This is where all the gear is. This is the most challenging thing. And it was sweat. It was very sweaty, and people loved it. That was almost 6 or 7 years ago. Now,
okay.
The thing that really got people back on board was they made a PvP team for Destiny. It was like a little strike team they said, hey, we're going to promise maps. We're going to promise these game modes and stuff like that. We got the maps. People were hyped. People were cool. You know, we get to play something else that we haven't played in 10 years. And then the layoffs happen. And then we don't know what happened to that PvP team. And then we don't know if that PvP team turned into the Marathon team.
But that's probably what happens, if I had to guess. But it's a guess. We don't know.
It's a guess. But the point is, when I hear that Marathon's launching with 3 maps, and as a Destiny player, we've had 4 maps for about 10 years with no change. And they're not the best maps in the world either. They're not like Nuketown or Terminal. It's there. It's the map you play on. It's not the best feeling. And for where PvP is now, and I can only say Destiny. I know I don't want to keep bringing up Destiny, but that is what they have now. That is their most recent line of work. And you got to update your resume. And right now, their resume is cheater-filled, hacker-filled, unbalanced matchmaking, solo player experience, fire team experience, throwing games. It's that. Now, to be fair, Destiny has been going on for 10 years. So there is burnout. You know, you play the same maps, you leave it, you're done. You're burnt out. You know, there's nothing there to keep you going. And if Marathon lasts for 10 years and they get burned out, then that's a success. But
yeah. I guess this is my question to that. Sorry, no, you can go.
No, go ahead.
Okay. So I get Destiny PvP is in an absolute like absolute rock bottom right now. It's horrible. Um, does again though, like listening to these PvP focused content creators, because all the content creators just about that have played the alpha, that have been making videos on it, they're all PvP focused
Yeah.
players, gamers. I don't know about you, but I haven't heard a single one say anything other than the gameplay is fun. It feels good. Does that give you any solace at all about maybe, hey, maybe whoever is working on the PvP at Bungie now, obviously they're not working on Destiny, but maybe they're cooking on Marathon as far as, the PvP aspect goes.
It's hard to say because when you hear Destiny's PvP creators, they are the 1% in a game mode that only has 3%. So
Yeah.
they're minority, but at the same time they're the majority because no one plays it.
Yeah.
My thing is I trust more than anybody that Bungie can deliver a sensational gameplay experience for PvE or PvP because they have. They've proven that.
Yeah.
If you get a good game in Destiny PvP, there's no better feeling. The score's close, people are sweating, and it's PvP. That's what it is. The thing that concerns me is it was abandoned for a long time, and before Marathon was even a thought, it was abandoned. And we have these problems where there are cheaters and there are hackers, and it's a lot more prevalent than people think in Destiny. And when you have the hardest content in PvP be riddled with that, and then you have connection issues, and then you have matchmaking issues, and then you have competitive matchmaking issues where what Destiny likes to do, if people don't know, which is bullshit because I hate it. Please, Bungie, if you see this, please God, change this. If you're on a team that just blew out a fucking team, they then take either the best player, the top two players, and like the bottom two players of the other team and swap them. And they're like, well, this will make it more balanced. And it's like, holy shit, I'm on the worst team I ever played in. And then these guys get carried because the whole team was good. And it's just like, oh my God. And then you may get, and this is another problem that can relate to Marathon, is they have singles and trios. My thing is, when you're a single player in Destiny, you get matched in with a fire team, especially in trials. That's either a fire team, right? A 2-person missing another person that has their own chat, that has their own mic, and you have no idea what they're doing. They're coordinated, and you might get matched up with another team that is a 3-man fire team. Right then and there, the single player is automatic disadvantage. My thing with the Marathon is, maybe I need to dig deeper into it, or they need to come out with it, is that as a single player, do I get queued in with a team of 2, or is it singles for 3 people who are all singles? And with the proximity chat not being a thing, do we get a private like fire team mic party? A private chat comm type thing. I just don't know how that's going to work out for the single player experience.
They have talked about some of that. Right. So it's my understanding that there will be a team chat. So if you have a mic and your teammates don't have you muted, you should be able to communicate with your teammates. There's just no proximity chat. So you're not going to be able to talk to people on other teams. But let's say you don't have a mic there is a ping system, like I don't know. Have you played Battlefield 2042 at all?
No.
No. Okay. Well, the ping system was actually pretty nice in it.
I'm
But
sure it's like any
they
other
have
game.
a fairly robust, yeah, they have a pretty solid ping system. So you can say, hey, like I'm going over here, enemy over there, kind of thing, pretty easily. So there is that aspect, so you can communicate in some form. They haven't talked about, like, if you queue up solo, there is an option to turn off team fill. So if you wanted to just be used completely solo, you can do that, or you can leave team fill on. But they haven't talked about, like, if you're going to be filled with only other solos or if you're going to be filled with another duo. They haven't talked about that. I don't know. I don't even know if they know the answer to that yet, because the matchmaking is still something that's pretty under construction right now,
Yeah.
as far as I'm understanding.
I think as a person who has tried extraction shooters, and when I mean tried, I mean Hunt. I've tried the Division. I mean Division. That has a whole area
You played the
where,
shit out of that.
yeah, Division 2. Um, that one zombie game. Can't remember what the hell it is. You spawn in. There's like zombies, and then there's like the also PvP, but it's not like extraction. But it's kind of like you just have to survive in that world.
Oh, is that Left 4 Dead? Is that what you're talking about?
No, not Left 4 Dead.
No, wait, that's not Left 4 Dead. That's not Left 4 Dead.
It's a classic fucking game, but it's old. It's old now. You drop into the world. There's zombies. You scrounge for supplies, just like Fortnite and PUBG and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I have played all those games. And
Oh, DayZ.
Daisy, there we go. Yeah,
Daisy. That's not really an extraction, but yeah. Okay.
From my experience in those games, and especially Division, I can only speak on Division. I've played the shit out of that. Yeah, I played a lot of that.
Yeah.
The thrill and the joy I get from that is a possible team up that could go wrong. And I don't know if that's a thing in Marathon, because it doesn't seem like a thing. It seems like you're going against the other team.
Okay. Oh, wait. Are you, so just to clarify, so I understand what you're saying. So you're saying, like, how there's the potential in the Division for you to, like, team up with another team, right?
Yeah, there's
and,
a
like, to run
potential
through it
that when you
together?
run into a crowd, it's like, hey guys, I'll help you do this.
Let's, yeah.
And then when you get to the distraction, it's kind of like, all right, buddy, why are you backing up? Why are you backing up so far?
That is, I agree. That is a massive part of any extraction shooter. Literally every single extraction shooter, and that's why there has been such a massive uproar about the lack of a proximity chat.
Yeah.
Because without proximity chat, how do you communicate with the other teams? Like, how do you do that? Like, such a big part of these extraction shooters is the potential for the betrayal, like that kind of thing. It's like a Tarkov, probably the most infamous extraction shooter, easily the most brutal, unforgiving one. But even in that game, there are some incredibly just wholesome moments that can happen because of the proximity chat. I've seen raids where where there's one guy finds, like, a new player, right, first time, or one of the first times ever, is obviously lost in the map, because there's no map in Tarkov, by the way. You just have to figure it out where things are. It doesn't tell you where anything is, and he's obviously lost trying to extract. This more veteran player helps them. They're running around, they're looking, and then another player pops up, like, yo, like, new player, like, whatever. And by the end of this raid, the entire lobby was all, like, huddled around this new player, like protecting him from the AI enemies to like escorting him to an extraction so he could extract for the first time. Like that's crazy stuff. Like
Yeah.
that is insane. That's super rare. That is incredibly rare
Yeah.
in Tarkov, but it's happened, and that would have never happened if proximity chat didn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have those like what, you have a ping system that's just like friend, so that just says like friend, and then you have to rely on the fact that the person that is walking up against you on the other team is watching their chat, like because they're not going to hear you, so they have to be watching the bottom left corner of their screen looking for you to be asking if you're a friend or not. Like that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen.
And I feel like,
and I think that's bad.
I feel like Marathon, the way they've advertised it, is not a game where that's possible. That's the thing.
No, it's not. Yeah, without a proximity chat, it's not possible.
It seems like they don't want it to be where friend or foe. They just want it to be, that's your enemy.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that kind of throws me off. Because then you're talking about PUBG and the Fortnite area, where you're just teams going against teams and it's the last man standing.
Yeah.
You just
or
added
Apex. A lot of people are
Apex.
Apex.
And then you just added an extraction thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and it makes me worried about some of the story beats potentially, because let's say, we get into seasonal content and there's like an area of the map now that has like a boss on it, or there's some kind of puzzle, right? Because they've talked about raid mechanics being in the maps in the game. What I'm worried about is like if you can't cooperate with other teams, like how complex are these raid mechanics really going to be? Because technically speaking, a raid mechanic is just standing on a circle and something else happens. You know what I mean? It can be that simple. It can be that simple, or it could be insanely complicated. But the more complicated it is, the more time you're going to need, the more likely you are to run into other players, especially if it's a seasonal thing. Like other players know that this is here, they're going to be coming to it. So it's like, if you can't cooperate with other teams, how is anybody going to be able to figure this stuff out? Like, how are they going to have the time to figure it out? I'm genuinely worried about the lack of a proximity chat. I did watch an interview where, from the sound of it, it seems like there are legal reasons why they may not be incorporating a proximity chat as of right now. In the EU, like we're in America, but apparently in the EU there's like a lot of laws passing. Central America or South America, there's laws that are being passed that are basically holding voice chat to the same standards as text chat. As in, if a player hears something toxic, offensive, that player needs to have an easy and fast way of immediately reporting that player that they heard. Now, how do you do that with proximity chat in an extraction shooter game where, like, if you told the player, or let's say if the name popped up on the screen of the mic that you're hearing, now you know the player, that there's a player in your radius that's talking. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a massive giveaway. Like, so it's like how I think the thing they're struggling with right now is figuring out how to be compliant with these new laws that are forming as we speak in incorporating proximity chat. I really hope they figure it out before the official launch, but I don't know if there's a way to do that, honestly.
Yeah.
That's a really tough one.
My last two concerns here. One is, I don't know. So you gotta think about where we're at in the game industry, where Bungie is at financially, reputation wise. Is Marathon the extraction shooter the best possible move to be made? Now, this is a whole psychological philosophy thing. This isn't a right or wrong, yes or no thing. It's more of your back's against the wall. There's no studio on this planet, maybe except for CD Projekt Red, that when their back is on the wall or against the wall, they are insanely peak. They make the greatest content. They're clutch. They're clutch. That's what they are. They're Tom Brady in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
They are it. Simple as that. If their back is against the wall, they have no money to spend, and their reputation is like the fucking doggy park with shit all over it. They will make the greatest content you have ever seen. Final Shape was one of the highest rated games of that year, and it was just a DLC. When they had nothing to go off of, they lost all the trust in the world. So they're clearly making a passion project. This is what they want to make.
Yeah.
This is one of Bungie's first ever IPs. This is something that means a lot to them. And you're making it an extraction shooter, which is a big red flag in the casual mindset. When you're thinking about casual gamers, extraction shooter is just not the term that's like, oh, I want to play that. When you have no money and no reputation, you decide to make a passion project. And it's like, man, that takes either the biggest balls or the dumbest motherfucker in the world. Or both.
Yep.
Because it's like,
both. Yeah.
Oh my God. I couldn't think of a worse time to do this. But I couldn't think of a better time to do this. Because it's like, when you're fucked, you're Tom Brady. So it's like, oh man, I'm so on the fence. I've never been on the fence with a game in my life. In my whole existence. I'm gonna play it, I'm not gonna play it. It's that simple. Starfield kind of had me on the fence until the very end, where you had me in that sushi shop saying the craziest allegations in the world, and I was like, okay, maybe I'm hyped now. Fuck. And because of you killed me. All right.
Yeah. A part of me died when Starfield came out.
But this is
me died.
This is the game where I'm just like, holy shit, I don't know if this is the game that's needed right now. But as you remember, and for the audience who don't know, I texted Kane when we saw the Marvel reveal for Marvel Rivals, and I said, it's a fucking hero shooter? I was like, who the fuck asked for this? Who wanted this game? Little old me, I better shut the fuck up. It's the biggest game in the world right now. So it's like, okay, maybe Bungie can do it. And God, I hope so. So for you, it's like, tell me about it. Tell me about it.
I mean, I think, like you brought up Marvel Rivals, before that came out, everyone was like, oh, hero shooters are dead. And, we talked about this last night. Like, I just think it needed some kind of a switch up in the formula. You know what I mean? Like, they're not dead, obviously. Like, because, like, Marvel Rivals is just, it's too successful. And you can't just say, oh, it's Marvel. Like, yeah, that plays a part in getting people to play it in the first place, but that's not what's keeping people hooked on it. Like, it's not just a bunch of Marvel nerds that are playing Marvel Rivals. Like, it's every esport fanatic on the planet that's obsessed with this game. So it's more than oh, it's got the Marvel IP. With this game, yes, it's an extraction shooter, which is very scary to like the casual gaming audience, but as someone that has played, I have maybe like not a ton of time in extraction shooters. I probably have like 80-ish hours in like hardcore extraction shooters, mostly in Tarkov. And I, the thing with Tarkov, it's a cool game. It has some insanely tense moments, but you burn out so fast. I can only play so much Tarkov, and then I need to take like a 1 to 2 year hiatus before I play it again. Before I work up the courage to spend another 2 weeks playing it nonstop, and then I gotta wait another year or two to play it again. Um, I've always wanted a more casual extraction shooter, and I think it will appease to a lot of people surprisingly. I think this is going to surprise a lot of casual gamers if you like PvP, because I mean that's a big part of the extraction shooter. If you are very dead set against PvP, it's probably not for you. It's probably not. Again, the PvE aspect is quite a bit more than what Bungie was leading on to in the reveal. There is a good amount of PvE in the game, and the AI is no joke. They will clap you if you're not paying attention. But there's something about it. And then Delta Force came out. Delta Force is a free to play game. It has what they call operations, which is an extraction mode, and it is brain dead accessible. Like, I mean, it is the most accessible extraction shooter that's ever been made, hands down. And I can't tell you how much I don't like it. It's just not fun. Like it's too simplified. They took the risk in everything. They just gutted it. They made it absolutely zero risk, brain dead accessible. It's not even an extraction shooter at this point. So, from what I've heard from Bungie, why I feel like I am the target audience so much is because this sounds like exactly what I've been wanting for years now. It is more accessible than Tarkov, but it's still more hardcore than Delta Force, and on top of that, it has a sick aesthetic. The art style is insane. The music is crazy. It's the first ever extraction shooter that's going to have a narrative focus. No extraction shooter's ever done that, which is going to bring even more people into it, because if the story is really good, people will play this game just for the story aspects of it, or they'll watch it on YouTube. It is what it is. Not everyone's going to want to play that just for story, but it will get some people for that. So, I mean, I don't even know if I answered your question. I forgot what the question was.
It wasn't even a question.
But I feel like the gunplay in Bungie is notoriously good, and it's a passion project. Like, if I'm gonna bet on if I'm on my last leg and I have one shot to make something like successful, I mean, it would have to be a passion project. How could you make anything else? Because if you're not obsessing over every detail of the game, it's not gonna have its best shot. So, I mean, it's the fact that it's Bungie in the fourth quarter on the final drive with 10 seconds on the clock, like they're in the red zone. It's Bungie, and everything they're saying all the right things for me. I love the extraction shooter genre. I just want it a bit more accessible than what it has been with Tarkov. The hero shooter aspect looks like the heroes look really good. The art style is phenomenal. Again, the story is amazing. There's still two more. We haven't even seen all the heroes. There's going to be two more. There's going to be 6 heroes on launch. The 3 maps. I think that's a good amount of maps to launch with. Honestly, especially if they add another one with the seasons. They're large maps, so it's not like a typical arena shooter map size. Like, these are a lot bigger than that. They're just saying all the right things for me. They're speaking to my soul right now.
I think,
especially the arts, dude. I fucking love the art style.
The art style is insane,
and the story. The story and the art style are phenomenal.
My last concern, which this should have been before this one, um, yeah, it's or it's story focused, which is sensational. Because for people who don't know, Marathon is absolutely dumb in lore. This OD in lore.
It was Halo before Halo.
Yeah, it was.
It was Halo before Halo.
Yeah, it was. Halo was born from this. So if that gives you any insight,
Marathon. Yeah.
My concern is, from what we've seen in the past 2 seasons of Destiny, the story elements in PvE are sensational. The only problem is it's buggy.
Yeah.
Dialogue goes missing. Things don't quite activate. Story beats don't activate when you're supposed to. And for a high-stress environment like an extraction shooter, from the actual gameplay we have seen at GameSpot and other creators, there's a lot going on. There's AI and there's players.
Yeah.
My thing is to make that all work and for the story to happen at the same time. I'm curious about when someone starts a match, the story starts going, right? However they're going to do it. Like I said, we've never seen this before, so it's hard to say. But the story starts going, either someone's talking in your ear or there's a hologram or some whatever the fuck's going on, and you get picked off. The thing I'm concerned about is, well, 1, be better, don't get picked off. 2,
get good. Bro.
Get good, kid. Does that get lost? Because that happens in Destiny. Sometimes you die in a story beat and that dialogue goes missing from your thing and you kind of get locked. And it's like, damn, I can't see this anymore. So that's what I'm curious about. It's like, maybe, I'm walking through this abandoned office. I pick up an audio file. I get picked off. And it's like, damn, am I going to get that audio file again? Or am I going to get the dialogue that was going on when I got picked off?
So I think I can actually put that to rest because they've talked about this.
Oh.
So you're not going to have to worry about, like, there isn't going to be one when you're in the game, there are 0 cutscenes when you're like in a map. So you're not going to have to worry about cutscenes. There's also not going to be audio logs. Audio logs are not a thing. There's not going to be a voice talking to you, like telling you the story when you're in the map, like in an actual raid or whatever they call them. So that is not going to be an issue. How I have heard the story being described, like how it's being told to you when you're in the game, like in a match, is it's going to be environmental storytelling through, and potentially that could be through bosses, because there are bosses on the maps. Some of them even behind locked areas where you have to find key cards. You have to get into those areas, fight the boss. There's environmental storytelling going on. And then also,
we got a special guest. Oh my god.
She was horrified right there. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Damn, you got a hold at the credit card? Damn, he got it like that. God damn, he's stretching off. That's that Dwight talking in your ear, B. That's that Dwight talking in your ear.
Bro, hey man.
He got shit coming to. Oh shit.
Bro, Dwight was supposed to fucking keep him out here. But he's slacking right now. But the story, right? Environmental mostly. When you're in the map, there's gonna be boss fights. There's also going to be terminals, and if you know anything about the original Marathon, that should be really cool and exciting, because the entire original Marathon trilogy was told 100% through terminals. Now, I know what you might be thinking now. It's like, hey, what happens when I get to this terminal, and then before I can finish reading anything, I get domed? And like, now, do I have to make my way all the way back to that terminal again to read it, to then eventually potentially be domed again before I can finish it? And it's just an endless cycle. No. Once you get to the terminal, you can immediately back out of the terminal And then what you do is when you extract, or if you die before you extract, and you go back to your home base, like the main menu section, basically, there is a terminal area in the menu that keeps all of the terminal logs that you discovered while on the map. And you can read them outside of the match, not having to worry about anything like that. And then another aspect, a big part of the story, is going to be told through the contracts that you pick up from the different AIs from the different corporations. So it's going to be told through these missions. It's going to be told through terminal logs that you can read safely out of raid, and it's going to be told through the environmental storytelling of the maps. So none of those have a potential for you missing out on it, essentially. Like or like soft locking yourself. Like there's not a chance of that happening with this system. And then again, the seasonal aspect is going to bring in an unknown aspect of storytelling. We don't know what seasons are going to look like yet.
So, that being said, one huge shout out to you for, well, one, you want this game. So, of course, you're going to be informed about it.
I want this game.
Of course, you're going to be informed about it. But this is the whole purpose of the channel. This is the whole purpose of, I think, fucking humanity itself, is that when you are confused, when you are concerned about anything, just either dig deeper or talk about it.
Yep.
Like I said, I'm still on completely the fence of this game.
I know.
I don't know what's going on or happening. Simple as that. But the game looks fun.
Yeah.
But if there's one thing,
and the alpha's next week.
Yeah. If there's one thing that's making me tip over to playing it side, it's having conversations with you, digging deeper in these videos and seeing what else is there. And I encourage anybody watching this video, if you made it this far, that if you have concerns about a game, especially in its reveal phase, it just got revealed, just wait. Or ask questions or dig deeper. If you really want to know if the game is going to be for you and if you should spend an unknown amount of money at this point, it's rumored to be $40.
Yeah.
If you have to spend money on it and it's your hard-earned money, then you should have the ability to put down your phone for a second or pick up your phone for a second and dig just a little deeper.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
That's it.
So, that being said, the last point I'm going to make is we saw the developers' faces. We saw their names. I think that's a beautiful thing to do. I love seeing studio faces, studio names. Yeah. It humanizes something that could sound robotic industry. Like you think about Ubisoft, it's just robots and stuff like that. But then they came out with some Vidocs and you see people making these games. And it's people like fucking Kane right there. He's in the business to making games. Those people got families. They got lives. They got their own mental issues. They got all that.
They're real people.
They are real people. And because you're unhappy by the art style of Marathon doesn't mean you gotta trash these people.
Yeah, it doesn't mean you can send them death threats or wish that their livelihood is just ended. Like, it's so ridiculous.
Like I said, it's just
insane.
If you have concerns, dig deeper. That's it. If you want to know what the end of a Poutine feels like, you gotta hump harder. You just gotta hump harder. It's simple as that. If you want to know she's the throat goat, you gotta keep going. Simple as that. So, that being said, as the old Ted Lasso said, Be curious, not judgmental.
Love that guy.
Love that guy. Hell of a guy. He goes deeper. I tell you that. With a stash like
Yeah, he
that,
does.
he knows what the end of a food chain feels like. Ain't no way. I'm not.
You don't stop. No, hell no.